Well, this is for you dirt bike guys out there. As far as I know, 2012 KTM 350 EXC Enduro. And this is actually my brother-in-law's engine, and my friend is working on it, and so I'm doing machine work. Yeah, that makes sense. And so I get to make fun of my brother-in-law because he doesn't watch my stuff. So this came in for valves, not seating, so the engine wouldn't run. From what I found, because I worked on the bike a little bit, I thought it was a fuel issue because it felt like it had good compression. I already got this one done, but here's kind of the lowdown of what we've got. I've already cleaned things. I'll show you something in a little bit. Anyways, let me take my grinding stone, because I don't do seat cutting on this, because my machine's just not set up for that. Not for this tiny stuff. So I just touch it with the grinding stone. So let's just make a couple little turns to give a scratch. Actually, shoot, this one's pretty great. Anyways, dang, I thought this second one would be bad. But what ended up happening was I had turned it around on this one a little bit, and it only cut a little bit here. And that's because the guides wore out. Let me get a guide set up in the vise so we can see what's going on there. So we've got a guide set up in my vise. We got a valve in it, and check this out. That's pretty bad. That's really bad. I'd never seen a guide wear out that much on a motorcycle. So my buddy thought, I thought it was a fuel issue because the pipe was a little bit warm, so the pipe was a little bit warm, and it would pop every once in a while. So I thought it was a fuel issue. We swapped the fuel pump with another bike we have, and it still didn't fix it. Put his pump on one of my bikes, and that pump worked. So it wasn't a fuel issue. So it was a compression issue. My buddy said your air filter is dry, which it might have been dry, I don't know, but because if you don't have oil in your filter, now your oil's not catching your dirt, and then you dust the motor. That could have been something, but from what I'm seeing here with that valve guide, that thing was wore out. And so what happens is, from my experience, let's see, I don't want to take that guide out. Okay, here we go. So your camshaft, so these are your your rocker arms in here. Your camshaft is rotating this way, pushing here, and so you're gonna have a little bit of pressure this way on that valve. Now I understand that there's valve cups in there and that kind of stuff to help guide. Wait, do these have cups? They don't, do they? These don't have cups. Yeah, because you're... Alright, little bit of a brain fart there, because I had to think about it. I am not a brand loyal guy when it comes to motorcycles. Right now, I ride a KTM 500. My wife rides a Honda. My first bike was a YZ250F. I have a Trail 90. I have an XL250. I've got lots of bikes, so I'm not brand loyal. But the Yamaha is a much better top end because it has these buckets that hold in place. It gives a little bit more guide for the valves. But the KTM has just the valve guide. in the valve stem. There's nothing holding side to side. So here's just a picture off of the internet of what buckets look like if you're not familiar. So in my opinion, KTM fell short on their top end by not putting these buckets in. I don't know why they wouldn't have. It's a much better idea than what they have. So I just brain fart and then I thought about it, so I'm adding that as a voiceover. Because you've got valve shims and then they sit on top of here. Not my bike. I didn't take it apart. I just did the head part. Anyways, maybe there's not cups because I don't see a place for the cup to sit in. Anyways, here we go. So you're going to be having stem pressure. Well, when you push that way, that means in this case, your valve hat is going to be pushing this way. That's when I had good seat pressure here. I had good seat pressure here, but not on this side. He said he put my buddy put mineral spirits in and it was just puking out the valves. So I had to do a couple dozen turns of the valve seat. Of the grinder to get it to clean up, and then I lapped it. So that's going to cause your valve hat to go this way, and so then you're going to get heat, temperature, all that stuff, exhaust into this part right here. And so then you're not going to get a seal, and then it's going to wear things out. So he said my brother-in-law said ever since he bought the bike, it sometimes had a hard time starting, and here's the reason. Is valve guides that did it. So everything else is good. The cylinder is good, the pistons are good. He's gonna ring it, and that's what we got. So anyways, here's my little process of taking care of this. Simply, I put a little bit of blue dye on there, and then I've got my little grinding stone, Sioux City. Right? Is it Sioux City? Anyway, I don't care. And then I just take a couple turns on there. And then the valves, I touched them with the grinder, but you can't even hardly tell, except for the exhaust valve. I will be touching those up. The intakes don't normally wear out. The exhaust do because they get a little bit of heat into it. So I just do a couple rounds with that. And then I can take my pilot out, and I'm going to take my intake valve, set it away so we can get a broader view. And I take a little bit of lapping compound. Doesn't take much. It's not expensive, but why waste it? Put a little bad boy on there. And just like that. And my little suction cup lapper sticks. And that's all there is to that. So I've done my intakes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this up, and then I'm gonna put my vacuum tester on it. I've got a little hand pump vacuum tester, just to make sure that we've got a good seal. So we'll see how that goes. So vacuum tested good. I can't show because it just took a lot of hands to get that going. But yeah, held pressure good. And yeah, so I'll just do the same thing to the other side on the exhaust. Some things I did a thorough cleaning in here. Oh, and also, sorry, back to what I was fixing. So valve guides, my buddy said, "Are you sure it needs valve guides?" I said, "Yes, it needs valve guides." "Are you sure?" "Why? What's the big deal?" $25 a piece, and there's no aftermarket. KTM locked that down, I guess. So $25, so we're gonna have $100 in valve guides. That's a lot of money, and just a couple seals. So yeah, so things I did as much polishing in here as I can. Tractor mechanic, so I don't have all the fancy tools, but yeah, did a little bit of polish work in there, and so give him 10 more horsepower. Not. And yeah, because he'll know the difference. Clean up the exhaust ports a little bit. So the casting is pretty good in these heads. You don't need to do too much in there. So I just did a little bit of polishing. There's a little bit of the casting, I don't know, stripe, if you want to call it that, on the sides. Remove that and just give it a good polish. I did that with the guides out because you can't quite get in the corners very well. So if I wanted to put an hour or two into it, I probably would have poured it a little bit, but who cares? Something amazing about, let's see here, let's field trip. I don't know exactly how much these guides cost, but if you were to buy them, they are expensive. Probably, I'd assume $7,500 a piece. And here's why. So, granted, the valve stems are a little bit different in size, but this is for like some Shibara industrial engine. 54 grams. 22 grams. The hat on this is a lot bigger than this. This is the dirt bike. But the stem is bigger here. But it's less than half the weight for not that much different of a valve. It's pretty incredible when you figure this thing is doing 10,000 RPM and this one is doing 3. So that's the difference there. That's why they're $100 a piece. So I figured I would share this one with you guys, for all you dirt bike guys. Love these things. Wish I had more time for them. Let me throw this in to conclude. I got my vacuum tester for how little it gets used. The manual one does just fine, so valve springs are in. That's all good. By the way, that assembly table makes things so easy. So now I've got good pressure on there, so I don't have to hold anything by hand. And little suction cup, sort of, well, foam thing. That just goes there. And I mean, look at that. It's not perfect, not 100%. But for how little of a surface that is, can I get a good focus? There we go. That's a very small leak down. That's pretty good. And that'll just come with seating of actually running the engine. If we go to the exhaust, boom. Let's see, let me get this vacuum started. There we go. Holds a perfect vacuum. Not a leak in the exhaust valves. That turned out good. So we know, and boop, done. When we put this head back on the motor, we know that it's gonna seal good. And yeah, this one turned out pretty good. So thanks for watching. I like to do some motorcycle stuff every once in a while. They're cute, they're fun, but the tolerances are very tight. Motorcycles have to be perfect. It's not a V8. So, have to take a little extra care. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.